Over a decade ago was when I created my own individual profile on the LinkedIn site, mainly because it was the buzz at the time. Others I knew were creating their profiles on the platform, which was touted as a sort of business-specific version of Facebook, where you had the ability to include resume information as well, such as whatever skill sets you possess, and if you were actively seeking employment. So I established my individual profile on LinkedIn, connected with a few others, and that was that. I never really did anything with it, not much at all, to the extent that it was in excess of 5 years without even logging into my account. I had been away from it for such a long time that earlier in the year of 2022, when I finally decided to get myself back on it, it was a chore to do so, because I first had to locate the password I had not used in 6 or 7 years, which I had to dig down deep to find, because I was trying my best to avoid creating an entirely new profile from scratch. When I finally was able to find that long-lost password and successfully log in, I was immediately required to update the password. But at least I was back in, on LinkedIn again after a lengthy absence. It was only very recently that I updated the status of my individual profile to note I am now retired from federal civil service. The main thing I wanted to do was to create a page on LinkedIn for the business I am starting up. There are several different types of profiles which can be created on LinkedIn, such as the individual profile I had since joining in the beginning. If you have a business of your own or are an employee of a company you wish to promote, you can establish a profile for it as well. When I was originally on the individual profile side of LinkedIn, I had exchanged messages with a few acquaintances here and there, which eventually ceased due to a lack of interest on both sides. I guess you can say I fell into the category most others I knew had. We created our individual profiles and began exchanging messages. But as far as exactly how to use the platform in a way which was beneficial to expand our networks, or even how to maintain activity in the connections we already had, that part remained a mystery. On the other hand, if you're engaged in a business startup, LinkedIn is a good place to be. For one thing, social media platforms are different now than they had been over 10 years ago when I first got myself on LinkedIn with my individual profile, but could not for the life of me figure out how to make the most of potential connections. Not only has LinkedIn stood the test of time, but in certain ways from a business perspective, it is an essential ingredient. This might be a place in this clip to insert a note to my viewers. I am not gushing over LinkedIn. I am not explaining to you all the reasons you need to be active on it and take advantage of the features it offers. Like the other clips in this series, I am merely demonstrating this is how I am going about doing the things I do, as well as some of the reasons for me going about them the way I am. Earlier in this year of 2022, I joined a couple of organizations. Through them, I've been establishing networking with others at such events as seminars and meet and greets, which may be as simple an occurrence as them giving me their business card. I take their business card with me when I leave the event. I could look them up on LinkedIn. It may turn out that they have an individual profile on the platform. It could additionally turn out that the company they work for or own has a professional page on LinkedIn as well. Let's say they have an established company page on LinkedIn. I could reach out to them if I wanted to, saying, "I'm Ricky Brooks. We met at such and such event recently. I see you have a company page on LinkedIn. With your permission, I'd like to connect your business page to mine." Then find out how they respond. There will be some who will not respond at all. There might be some who say, "Thanks, but no thanks." But I think there will be others who respond positively. Because after all, establishing a connection between your own business and theirs means whoever views your business page will see all you have connections to. By the same token, it works vice versa by increasing your own visibility through your connections with them. It becomes a way of following up on in-person meets with people, so that I'm not taking the business card they gave me and tossing it into a desk drawer to sit and collect dust. I could also do something additionally if I choose to, such as not only establishing the company-to-company connections on LinkedIn, but let's say they represent something called ABC Business. You reach out to them and request to connect with them on LinkedIn. They say, "Sure, you can connect with me." Your companies become linked. Not only that, but you create a simple post as well on your page mentioning them, saying, "I'm now connected with ABC Business." Something as seemingly insignificant as that, multiplied repeatedly, could prove beneficial down the road. Because you are taking the time to mention them on your page. Somewhere along the line, they will respond in kind by mentioning you on their page. It is not the same as accepting someone's friend request on Facebook, where once connected, you never communicate with each other anymore thereafter. If it's to do with LinkedIn and the way I'm going about it, then chances are I've already met that person somewhere in person. They've provided me with their business card. I now have a way to follow up on that brief encounter, which could prove beneficial for us both, because I'm not discarding their card or them. Again, I'm not telling you to get on LinkedIn and use it. I'm merely saying how I'm on it and how I'm going to use it. In conclusion, I'll add this about LinkedIn, that it should not be a social media platform to be trifled with, because the last thing you ever want to do is trivialize it, which would not be a good look any way you stack it. Meaning, if you're going to get yourself on it, then by all means get on it. But you would be well served to use it too, because you have to post regularly. Maybe not as often as every day or even every week, but whenever you can, at least try to put up a little something. It's perfect for me now because I'm involved in this visual series. No one else I know is engaged in anything as elaborate as a video journal series. But I also use my LinkedIn page to post nothing more than occasional few sentences here and there as well. When I encourage activity on your page, that's all I'm talking about. Because should someone visit my page, the main thing I want them to see is activity. By the same token, should I view someone else's page to discover it has been a long time since they last posted anything whatsoever, it automatically leads me to a perception of where their head is at. Not everyone else thinks the way I do, because we all are different, particularly when it comes to such things as self-aggrandizement. Professional business pages on LinkedIn will always have a lot to offer someone such as myself.